Hi everyone, it's Caroline. It's been a few weeks since I last put up a video. Everything's okay. I appreciate folks wondering if things are okay when it takes a while. Things are great. I've just been very, very busy working on my book and just with things I do. I'm a poet also, so I had a lot going on with that as well. So if it ever is a few weeks between posts rather than a week or so or a few days, it's usually because I get a little hectic. But so I hope everyone's been good, and I want to talk about something that someone had asked me to post a video about. So someone had asked me to talk about friends and family's reactions to eating disorder and it being the person with the eating disorder's pain versus everyone else's. For example, if someone were to harm themselves or hurt themselves or perhaps make a really rash decision that was really harmful to their health or their well-being, sometimes friends and family may get angry with that person or may react in a way that only makes the person feel worse rather than knowing that it's their pain. So on that, I've learned in the last few months that everyone's pain is their own pain, right? And it doesn't belong to us. So for the last few months, a bunch of things have happened in my life where other people were dealing with their trauma and their pain, and it had nothing to do with my pain. And I was able to learn to separate it. And instead of taking on their pain and getting angry at them, why are you doing this to me, or I can't believe you're doing this, how dare you, instead, I used to use the word compassion. I had compassion for where they were at. My new thing is love. I have love for them, because compassion isn't even enough. In order to, and this isn't validating someone's negative behavior that may affect other people, but when it's negative affective behavior, for example, if I were to cut myself or make myself throw up, that negative behavior affects my body and my person. It may scare people that love me, and it may affect people that love me, and therefore they may see it as selfish because I'm not thinking about them. But in order for me to feel support and get out of the space where I feel the need to harm myself, the best response I can get from the people that love me is love, because that's what I'm lacking in myself, right? If I were to harm myself, it's because I do not love myself, and therefore, what do you give someone? If a child doesn't have water, you get them water. You know what I mean? Like it's a resources thing. So it's a lack of self-love that brings us to harm ourselves. And so giving someone love rather than anger or frustration or the inverse of love or fear, which is fear, right? It's best to give someone love. And this can be a tricky space because then it feels like, well, I'm validating their behavior if I just smile and say, oh, it's okay, I love you. It's not saying it's okay. It's saying, because I love you, I want you to realize that that is harmful to yourself. It's not about, I hope this is making sense. So I'll use myself as an example again. If I were to harm myself and someone whom I loved, who loved me, came to me and said, don't do that, it hurts me. That's not helpful because it's not about them. But please don't do that, it hurts you. That's helpful because then that's the context that it's in. So I had gotten this question about, like, as a response to friends with eating disorders, what's the most helpful thing that they can do? Well, I might have talked about this before. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this in another video, but when I think back on high school, the most incredible support I got from one friend was she'd always say, how's your tummy? How's your tummy? And it was always, instead of, did you throw up today? Did you hurt yourself? I don't want to even hang out with you because you're bulimic. Because I got some of that stuff. Instead, she would say, how's your tummy? And what that did was, A, that let me know that she cared about me and she loved me. I'm putting on a light. And B, she made it about what I was doing to my stomach. Without accusing me or judging me, she was making me aware that my tummy deserved to be doing well. Does that make sense? So if someone we love has an eating disorder or is harming themselves, it's much more productive, I feel, to say, how are you doing? Rather than, why do you do that to yourself? Do you see the difference? Because when you act from a space of love, how are you doing is still out of love. Why are you doing that to yourself is judgmental, and that shifts the dynamic. And again, this is not about validating harming each other. It's not saying, I love you so much, it's great that you went and threw up. That's not what this is about. It's about, I love you so much, I hope you are aware that when you do those things to yourself, you are harming yourself. That's it. It's not you are harming me, because that's anger and that's fear. It's be aware of what you're doing to yourself. And I love yourself, so please love yourself too. That's support, right? So I hope this answers the question I got, and I hope this addresses this, and I hope this can spawn a discussion, because through the years that I've dealt with my own illnesses and pain, and then helped others deal with their own, the only way it works is when we simultaneously, it's tricky, love someone while not validating their self-destructive behavior. It's a tricky balance, and I'd love to hear what other people think about what that balance looks like, because it's a possible balance. I've practiced it. I've had it practiced towards me. I know it's real, and so I hope that helps, and that can continue to create a dialogue and discussion about what it means to be supportive and what it means within this community to support each other to heal, because I don't know, that's why I put up these videos, and that's, I hope, why we're all here in YouTube in this, I point to my computer when I said here, in this space of openness and discussion and visualizing and making tangible these experiences so that we can heal as a community. Which is why when people ask me what is your stance on pro-Mia, pro-Anna, pro-eating disorder videos, I don't get angry, because anger is not going to solve anything. That's only going to alienate us further. And instead I say, and this is, again, I'm trying to get above the compassion. Love is even a higher vibration than compassion. I am aware that this is where the pro-eating disorder stuff is coming from, and I'm not going to validate it with anger, because anger further validates that behavior, because it's like violence begets violence. But if you look at MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi, what were they practicing to end violence? Nonviolence, right? So anger is only going to beget more anger and more fear, which is what causes the pro-eating disorder stuff in the first place. But if you, give someone a hug, then they have no reason to dislike themselves. And I don't even use the word HATE, because it's so negative. They don't even have that ability in them anymore. I heard a great story about, I went to a sleepaway camp, and there's a camp run for at-risk girls at the end of the summer, and I heard a counselor who had stayed on to work the 10-day session told me that there was a girl who was very upset and troubled and screaming and kicking people, and her father had to be called. And the way that she calmed down was he opened his arms and gave her a hug, and then she just fell into his arms sobbing, and her episode of lashing out was over. And that doesn't validate her behavior, but that gives her a reason to never have to behave that way again. Does that make sense? That's what it's about. Giving the love to someone giving love to someone and support is about giving them a reason to never have to throw up again. That's why I stopped throwing up, because I suddenly began to realize what I'd be losing, what was at stake. So the best way to be supportive is to give someone a reason to never do that again. And anger is a threat. That's not a good enough reason. That only begets more anger and more self-destruction. But if you give someone love, that's the best, highest, most pure, powerful reason in the world to never have to throw up again and to never have to starve yourself again. And the more you fill yourself with that self-love and are open to the love of others and start to just let go of the anger, then that's how you heal. So it's a two-way street. I hope that helps. I realize this was me perseverating over all this while speaking, so I hope it's made sense, but yeah, cool. I hope you're all well. Lots of love.